When the sun sets, Africa shall rise to its glory. Wife of late Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, Gaddafi's recently murdered son reveals his last words. 2 nights before the ugly incident that befell my husband, he said to me, Umar, the forces that fought against my father and brought him to his knees are now close to reaching me. I feel it is time. It is so sad that the world may never get to know the truth, as we are born to survive in a world where darkness prevails over light. However, when the time comes, inshallah, I will meet the Holy Prophet. Our non-existence will breed more Gaddafis that will sprout around Africa. When the sun sets, Africa shall rise to its glory. The son of the late African great leader Muammar Gaddafi is dead. Investigation report on Saif al-Islam Gaddafi suggest betrayal. Private sources in the Parliamentary Investigation Committee. The number of bullets that lodged in the body of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi was 19, and the weapon used in the operation was a Kalashnikov. One of the bullets penetrated the head of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi above his left eyebrow and exited from the back. The determined time of death was 5:57 p.m. Libya time. The withdrawal of guards from the vicinity of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's residence occurred an hour and a half before the incident for unknown reasons. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi was using a WhatsApp number from Serbia, according to his phone, which was later found with his companion, Ahmed al-Ajami al-Attiri. There were no African workers in the house at the time of the incident. The internal surveillance cameras were functioning, and they were linked to the phone of another person outside Zintan, who was close to Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. Pure betrayal from his inner circle. Research suggests that France and United Kingdom were involved in the assassination of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi Afshan Rattansi. France and the United Kingdom are reportedly involved in the assassination of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the prominent son of former Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi, as he was seen as the man who could reunite Libya after the NATO-backed uprising. Saif al-Islam was killed by unknown gunmen who stormed his home in the town of Zintan on Tuesday. Gaddafi's political team said in a statement that 4 masked men killed him in a cowardly and treacherous assassination, adding that he tried to fight off the assailants, who shut off the security cameras at the house, in a desperate attempt to conceal traces of their heinous crimes. Sources on the ground in Libya told us that they suspect that British intelligence used local proxies to assassinate the man seen by many as the one who could reunite Libya, 15 years after NATO embed Libya into a failed state during their campaign to kill Muammar Gaddafi, said British broadcaster and former Press TV presenter Afshan Rattansi. He also hinted at France's involvement in the assassination, saying, "We also know that France has deep motives in Libya. We know from WikiLeaks cables that France wanted a greater share in Libya's oil production in 2011, and former President Nicolas Sarkozy was negotiating to reserve as much as 35% of Libya's oil production." According to his remarks, Saif al-Islam was seen by many as the most likely candidate to win any presidential election and unite the country after years of instability, especially as he had support from tribes that originally fought against his father in 2011. Watch now as the US, UK, and France start to steamroll ahead with the long-delayed elections in Libya, now that the one leading candidate who would have united Libya, and not followed their orders to allow Libya to be a de facto colony that is perpetually looted for its oil reserves, is now dead. Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Services (SVR) press bureau noted that Saif al-Islam's assassination came as France has reportedly been preparing neo-colonial coups d'état in Africa and seeking opportunities for political revenge on the continent. The report said the influence of the former colonial power in African countries is waning, as they refused to serve as puppets of the financial and political oligarchy of French globalists. Whether inspired by the American operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro or imagining himself as the arbiter of the fate of African peoples, French President Emmanuel Macron has authorized his special services to launch a plan to eliminate undesirable leaders in Africa, the SVR Press Bureau added. Libya has been struggling for stability since 2011, when the country's former leader Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown and killed in a NATO-backed uprising. According to the Cradle, intelligence from foreign countries, including the United Kingdom, organized an army led by members of the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, LIFG, to overthrow the Libyan regime. The al-Qaeda-linked LIFG, which was formed to fight alongside Osama bin Laden's Afghan Arabs in Afghanistan in the 1980s, took control of the capital Tripoli and toppled the government. After the killing of Muammar Gaddafi, his hometown fell under the control of Libya's branch of Daesh terrorist group, serving as its most significant base outside of West Asia, while the country descended into civil war and chaos. Saif al-Islam, his father's close advisor from 2000 until 2011, was captured and imprisoned in Zintan in 2011 after trying to flee the North African country following his father's death. He was freed in 2017 as part of a general pardon and had lived in Zintan since. According to the SVR, France was also involved in the attempted coup against Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré, whose government distanced itself from Paris since the fall of then-interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba in the 2022 coup. Our intelligence services intercepted this operation in the final hours. They had planned to assassinate the head of state and then strike other key institutions, including civilian personalities. Burkina Faso Security Minister Mahamadou Sana stated. Traoré also helped to found the Alliance of Sahel States, comprising Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The SVR added that France was also seeking to destabilize the governments of Mali, the Central African Republic, and Madagascar. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi wanted to join forces with brave leaders to rebuild Libya. A statement circulating in Pan-African spaces attributes these words to Russian President Vladimir Putin, expressing grief and anger over the silencing of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi and the direction Libya was heading toward. According to the claim, Saif al-Islam carried a clear vision to rebuild Libya as a united, sovereign nation. He reportedly sought alliances with Africa's emerging resistance leaders, including figures within the AES, to resist foreign interference, restore state institutions, and return Libya to stability and dignity. The message resonates deeply across Africa because it speaks to a familiar pattern. When leaders attempt to reclaim sovereignty, reorganize national wealth, and cooperate outside Western control structures, they are neutralized. Not debated. Not negotiated with. Just removed. Whether one agrees with Gaddafi's legacy or not, the larger issue remains. Africa is repeatedly denied the right to determine its own future. Any attempt at independent rebuilding is framed as a threat. Hope itself becomes a target. Libya's destruction was never just about one man. It was about preventing a model. A functioning African state, rich in resources, outside imperial command, is unacceptable to the global order. That is why Africa must pay attention. Not emotionally, but strategically. Because the same playbook is reused everywhere, liberation begins to look possible. Call to action, Africans. We must stand for our continent, Africa. Against neocolonialism, exploitation, and disrespect from foreign countries and continent. Don't leave without subscribing and following for more content on African politics and economy. If you love great leaders like Gaddafi, don't pass without commenting. Rest in peace, Gaddafi.